Hi, I'm Tim. I'm at Big Bear Bikes. I'm with Mike. Mike is the road bike expert at Big Bear Bikes in Pickering, North Yorkshire, and we're here to check out the 2023 Trek Madone, which is a bike that we've all heard loads about in the news over the last 6 months. So Mike, I'm a road bike fan. I've been riding an aero bike since 2016. Clearly, this is a game changer. Tell us about the new Madone.
Yeah, super dream bike. It is a really fast bike. It's actually the fastest bike that Trek have ever designed, really. It's their fastest aero road bike. It's using lots of cutting edge technology from the speed concept to their time trial bikes, their TT bikes, the out and out sort of superheroes for the speed. So they brought all that into a road bike and made it mega aero, but really fast. But they've taken away some features from the Generation 6 that was already a fast bike, but it was a little bit heavier than this. And so they took away in the back of the bike there, they took away the IsoSpeed technology, which is super comfortable, fast bike, but they were finding that, generally, that their customers weren't actually using the changes of the IsoSpeed which you could adjust. So they've actually brought out a new design which actually looks a hell of a lot faster, doesn't it? I mean, it's super beautiful looking, isn't it? Yeah. You know, but there's something called IsoFlow now. So it's designed for the frame, in the carbon frame. It's got a much better, with its layup basically, it's got comfort in it, so it's designed to actually flex ever so slightly, but it's actually much more aero. So you can see physically, I mean, we'll look through the bike in a bit more detail, but you can see that there's flow all the way through it. It's physically a faster bike.
And I also noticed that it's the 800 series carbon frame, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I think I was looking at a Monda SL7, and that was the 500 series. So is this one step, or is this more than one step?
Yeah, so all SLR models, I mean, this is a Project 1 bike. It can only be bought in Project 1, but SLR, they have 800 series carbon fibre, so it's a much lighter weight carbon fibre. It's their top carbon fibre that Trek use, so there isn't a higher version of it. For example, this bike here with the SLR, from its last generation of Madone, it's 300 grams lighter in its frame. So with not just because they used to use 700 series carbon, but it's 800 series carbon now, but with the changes to the frame and all the adaptations they've made, they've got a much lighter frame. So coincidentally, it's a lot lighter for climbing as well. So with this gear setup that's on this bike is a super climber, as well as it's a great, you know, flying down the road bike, but it can be used for every kind of process of cycling now. So you know, the team guys were using this in the Tour. Quite a few of them actually climbed with this bike, not just on the flatter, you know, process of something like on the Tour de France.
That's something that's really interesting to me. So when I got into cycling, which is not that long ago, it was only 2015, everything was about weight saving.
Yes.
And I would argue that road bikes have got a little bit heavier over the last few years, like with the addition of disc brakes. I've been running calipers, so you know, I'm sure to anyone that's watching this, they think you're already behind the curve. But calipers and wider tyres, is it faster?
Yeah, so it's proven to be a lot faster. So yes, you're right about the weight. There are some slight differences. You know, if we were to step back probably 5-10 years ago, then the bikes would have been potentially lighter. But it has been proven that a bike can be almost a kilo heavier, but because it's more aero, it's actually faster. Because to get it up to that speed, it will carry that speed much more. So we don't need to be as focused on the absolute super weight, lightweight, because sometimes lightweight can be the frame can be quite flexy, so you lose it. It doesn't feel as comfortable as it goes along the road, so you actually get a bit of fatigue. So going back to those, you know, for what you were just mentioning there about the wheels and the tyres now are a lot wider than they used to be.
Yeah, I'm 23s. These are not 23s.
No, not at all. No. So these are 25s on this, right? But it can take. You can see that in the frame apertures, it's designed to take up to a 28, and through time and design, it's actually more the design of the modern day design of the wheels have got, they're actually wider than they used to be. They used to be very slim, very uncomfortable, and you could get punches all the time, you know, with a thinner tube. Now you've got wider tubes, you know, with the advent of going tubeless as well. They're a lot more comfortable, but there's a lot less fatigue on the rider.
So riding in England, I'm getting less punches and I'm more comfortable.
Yeah.
And I'm faster.
And it's faster.
Wow.
Simply. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So talk me through some of the spec on the bike then. So what have we got? I mean, the wheels for a start.
Yeah. Go back to, I guess let's just go back to a point that you made there about the disc brakes as well. So disc brakes on a bike, ever so slightly heavier than your traditional caliper, but the benefits are huge because you're getting a lot better braking response. I mean, you know, descending, you'll have been on the mountain bike, but you're descending down the hill on the mountain bike, you've got confidence inspiring brakes because you know that it's not just on or off, is it? And it's not based on your hand power to stop it, especially in the winter time as a roadie, freezing hands, going down the steepest hill and thinking, can I even slow the bike down? But this, you know, it gives you the confidence for that, but it's also the progression of how the braking feels. Because yes, you can, you know, we can stop on a caliper brake, but it's a much more powerful progressive kind of feel and control on the disc brake. And massively, I suppose the obvious thing as well is that you're putting less, especially onto something like this with carbon wheels, there's less wear on that, if any wear on that wheel, because you're not touching the braking surface. This is going to last a lot longer. You know, the rotors themselves last thousands and thousands of miles. It's just a pad change, and even the pads last longer than your traditional rubber you know, pad to metal, as it were. So definitely, yeah. So that's another massive benefit. Yeah.
So what are these wheels then? So
these are the Aeolus Pros 50.
So a carbon wheel?
Carbon, full carbon all the way through. So some of them, you know, would have had an aluminium here and then a carbon sheath over there, but it's a full carbon wheel, very lightweight. I think they weigh about 14 or 1500 grams, these. So super lightweight. But a lot of people don't actually realise how comfortable carbon can be. So, you know, if you back-to-backed it, if you rode this with the same weight of aluminium wheels, if you rode a carbon wheel, you'd be surprised, you'd almost think it's almost got soft tyres because it's that comfortable. Because the carbon, if we did a slow-mo of you zooming down the road, if it hits a bump or hits a pothole, it will actually change shape, but it'll come back, whereas an aluminium, unfortunately, it just goes right through to the rider, you know, and it's a stiff. And it's the same thing with the carbon on the bike. It can be laid up in such a way that it's actually very comfortable to ride, but it's designed, so when I accelerate here, I want it to be able to, you know, translate to the chain and the tyre and grip and zoom off down the road. But if I hit a bump from this position, the way that this is all designed in its IsoFlow is that there is an element of cushioning for the rider. This will actually move ever so slightly. So it gives it an incredibly comfortable feel, which allows you to not get fatigued and allows you to go further, faster.
So I can ride further, I can ride faster, it's lighter. Well, I mean, and as well, it just looks fantastic.
It does.
It's deep set wheels on a bike. I think they just look amazing.
It's absolutely beautiful, isn't it? Yeah.
So, and the cockpit, talking about things that look amazing, the cockpit's absolutely fantastic. So it's a one piece, again, full carbon cockpit.
Yeah, it's an integrated stem and handlebar design. They've done more with that, so brilliant to bring that up actually. Here, you'll see that, you know, it's slimmer on the hoods there than it is onto the drops, and the reason being is that because, you know, unfortunately for us, we're the most unaerodynamic thing on the bike, but so to make us more aerodynamic, it's allowed it to be us to be slimmer at this point here, which is where you know yourself, you spend a lot of your time up there, don't you? And into the drops there. So if we're slimmer at this point, then we're going to cut through the air a lot faster. So that was a hell of a lot of design to go into that. It's
a stunning bike. We've talked a lot. We've covered the carbon cockpit.
Yeah.
We've covered the wheels, the tyres, the disc brakes, obviously IsoFlow and this incredible new design they've got for the frame.
Yes.
We've talked about Project One. But if I'm buying a bike, one of my biggest considerations is the group set.
Yes.
And right now I've got Shimano's Ultegra Di2.
Yeah.
What are we running here?
Okay, so we're running SRAM's version of the Di2, I suppose. So this is their electric group set. There's 3 different levels of SRAM's group set. So it's called the AXS. So this particular one is SRAM Rival. This sits, you know, so third from the top, as it were. So you can have
like a 105 in.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, I would suggest ever so slightly, just with the technology that's in it, ever so slightly higher than the 105. But yeah, it is. It's fully wireless, so that's one of the differences from the Shimano system. So there are still, even on the latest 12-speed Shimanos, there are still wires from the two. So this one is pure Bluetooth, so you've got your shifters up there that send a Bluetooth signal to these two derailleurs here, and obviously all, like modern bikes nowadays, it can be done and changed on the app. So this is something you do with the Project One. You know, you can spec these changes to the bike. But so this, one of the benefits actually, though, massive benefits that's different to Shimano, let's say, is that with SRAM they've really thought about this, the size of the gear ratios really. So because of the benefit that, you know, it's a painted technology, but they've got a 10-speed ring, the littlest ring, so the fastest ring is 10 speed there. So 10 speed, I'll start again, 10 tooth. And because of that, it will travel a hell of a lot further. You know, it used to be an 11, so because of that, they can run a lot smaller, you know, chain rings here on the crank. So at the moment, this one's got 48 and 35 in its smallest. So with the 48 and the 10, it equates to effectively a semi-compact of the past, so an 1152. The real benefit of this being a 12-speed system here is on the biggest one, it's actually 36, which is massive. Yeah. It's a real climber gear, and you've got 35 there, so you can see. So
back to your point about having one bike, you can run on the flats or go and take on outdoors. Absolutely,
yeah. You know, and that really wouldn't have been, you know, if we'd have gone 10 years ago, that group set wouldn't be available. And it would be it would almost be a mountain bike kind of group set really size-wise. But yeah, it makes this bike can be super fast and really, really quick as a road bike on the flat, but going up into the hills, you've got a bike that can climb like incredible. You know, not so long ago, there was a 25 was the biggest that anybody'd use on a road bike. So you've got a 36 that's absolutely incredible climbing. So really good range of gears, really, really good ratios. But there's some benefits also as well of this system, this electronic system. And this goes for Shimano as well. But with SRAM, there's 3 levels of how the gears work on this. Obviously, you know that they're electric. The first one is called manual. I'll talk you kind of through the 3 if you want.
Yeah, great.
Okay, so for the manual gear change, on your right hand, when you press the right button down, it comes down a gear, so it drops down a gear to the faster gears. On your left hand, it's still working at the back, so it goes up a gear to the easier gear. And if you press both the levers together, it works the front derailleur up or down. Now, if you set it onto the second stage of the 3, it's called semi-sequential. So that's semi-automatic basically. And what that does, if I'm riding along and I go through my gears normally, and I want to go up to a bigger ring, I normally, you know how you normally go, if you go to a bigger ring, you normally have to go back on this gear at the back, because suddenly there's a change of ratio. Yeah. It automatically does that for you, so it changes the ratio. So if I come down, it will put down on this side automatically. And then fully automatic mode, it's not actually meaning that the whole bike's automatically change gear on its own, but what it does do is if I go up and down on the gears at the back, it decides when the perfect time to go up into the bigger ring.
Wow. So
which is amazing.
It's keeping you at your most efficient, the sweetest spot.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And it can be done in let's say under race kind of conditions. So, you know, when you're really hammering on the gears, you know, if I changed a normal cable operated bike, you know, under full pressure, it would clunk like crazy. But because of the design and how quick that the gear can be changed, it's so sort of, it's just straight there, and it doesn't bang or clunk. It just finds the gear correctly. So it's forever trying to read and correctly, you know, set itself up. So you never get any of this, you know, like constantly finding a gear, or, you know, if the cables are stretched or anything. There's none of that. It is the future really. I mean, they're super, and they've been designed to work in incredible conditions. Clearly, the electronic system's been on mountain bikes as well, so it can be put up with a lot of havoc.
It's robust,
very robust.
So, Mike, the other thing that I've heard quite a bit about is the new battery technology. So, tell me a little bit about that. Yeah.
So, it's designed to be able to ride for, you know, fully charged battery. Will designed to be able to cope with all the changes of a 300-mile distance of ride. So really, really good. You know, really, really good. And they're super easy to change. Now, so for example, if you forgot to charge it and you needed to, you know, ultimately this this gear here is going to do many, many more changes. So this one is ultimately going to run out before this one, because it's only going to change up and down.
Yeah.
So you can flip the batteries if you did get caught out, as it were.
Is that easy to do?
Yeah, really easy. So let's just show you. So just a little lever there there, and just plop it out like that. So we could swap that one for that one.
Tiny.
Yeah, there you go. Really lovely and lightweight. Sometimes people may actually, you know, buy another one and have a spare just in their pocket. You know? So yeah, so we could swap them around. So we'd literally, they're not, you know, they don't need to be coded in or anything like that. So just pop it in the bottom and then click it into the top like that, and that's done. Thank you. Into there and like that.
That's really impressive.
It is. It's really, really quick.
And all of, you mentioned about the 3 different modes there. So the manual mode, the semi-sequential, and the fully automatic.
Yeah.
Is that all controlled via the app?
It is, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you can change it on the app, yeah. And not only that, actually, something else to add to that as well that you can change on the app, is that if I was to press the lever and hold my hand on it, it would just constantly go down the gears, and vice versa. If I hold the other one, it'll constantly go up the gears. Now you can set it so it does 3 gears in a row instead of all of them, or 2 gears in a row, because people might want that quick jump, you know, or just manually do it as well.
So you can really customise it. And what that's got me thinking about is people racing. Obviously it's a UCI approved frame.
It is.
Can I run this group set in a race?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. So as we touched on before, it can be ridden at absolute, you know, full gas basically. You know, you don't have to be, you know, we're all going to be sympathetic with our bikes when we ride them because it's our own lovely frames and bikes and group sets, as it were. But, you know, in a race situation, you think a little bit less of that, and you think you want to make headway down. I want to change gear quickly, so it will do it under pressure, and it is really, really clean. You know, there's less chance of actually with the electronic group sets of the chain dropping or anything like that because there's no cable stretch or anything like that. So they're designed, once they've been set up, you know, from the factory, from us, they rarely come off the bike, as it were. So yeah,
that's been brilliant.
Massive benefits of it. Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
So this is in stock now at Big Bear Bikes.
It is. Yeah.
Is this one sold, or is this available?
It might be sold.
It might be sold to me.
yeah. And me. It's a beautiful thing. You know, that it is. Yeah. It's. You know. Well, come on down and have a look at it, because it is the top of the top, isn't it?
So Mike, thanks for sharing all that with us. It's an absolutely stunning piece of kit. If I want to get on one of these, what's it going to cost? Yeah, so this super bike here that we've got in store is actually 8,250, but the entry level into this is 7,600 for the Shimano 105 version of it. And then moving on right up to the top one with its SRAM AXS Red. That's the SLR 9.
That's the SLR 9, sorry, that's correct, yeah. It is running a different wheel set as well, so it's not just the group set you're paying for there, but you've got the top of the top RSL wheel set as well, and that is a little bit more than that. Brilliant. Well, Mike, thanks for all your time. It's been amazing. I'm guessing if people want to come and check out this bike, they can test ride it in your car park, they can come and talk to you in the shop. So that's us. This is the 2023 Trek Madone SLR. It's incredible. You've got to see it in the flesh, and you can do that at Big Bear Bikes in Pickering, or you can visit the website, which is bigbearbikes.co.uk. Superb.